In this video, we will be talking about what to expect at your first play party. Hi everyone, I'm Madam Jess, the founder and owner of KinkEd Atlanta, kinky education in Atlanta. And this is our first podcast being recorded today for you guys on behalf of myself and Atlanta Dungeon for our upcoming play party. What can I expect when I go to a party? We get these questions quite a bit, especially now that we are throwing social events and parties again. There are so many new people who are constantly coming out into the community, who are curious and want to find out more. They want to go to an event, but there's a great deal of hesitation and anxiety about going to try something new. People don't know what to expect. I wanted to take a few minutes to make a short video to sort of explain to everyone what to expect when you go to a BDSM, kink, or play party. We get these questions, like I said, constantly. Just last night, someone was asking me, they were so curious about going out, they wanted to see it, they wanted to participate, but they've never been before and they were really scared. And that's fair. That's fair. If you think back and remember the first kink event that you ever went to, you might have had some anxiety about it then also. I mean, I remember my first time going into a kink party, and I had all kinds of crazy ideas about what would happen to me, what people would do to me, my role in everything, what I was supposed to wear, how I was supposed to behave. And it's hard to know when you've never done it before. People, you have all kinds of crazy ideas about what it is going to be. And a lot of that comes from porn or TV or reading erotic novels. And all of that stuff is great. But I don't think it ever really prepares you for what's really about to happen. So we're just going to talk about that a bit more. There are a handful of things to think about. I will say that the first thing you should do when you think you want to go to a party is to research the party, research what the party is, who's throwing the party, where the party's going to be. Most of the time, parties or groups will already have a list of rules. Atlanta Dungeon parties do have rules. You are required to read them over. They are posted at the front of every event. And you are required to sign off that you have read them before you enter one of our parties. And I think most parties will have that, but not all parties do, especially when you start going to play parties in private residences. Really, there's no real rule of thumb because every party is so different and the people attending it all have different ideas about how people should conduct themselves. Some of the ones that we hear about the most, I'll just go through a few. What should I wear? For most kink parties, I mean, if you were going out to a singles club, or if you were going out to a fancy restaurant, or if you were going somewhere on a date with your significant other, you would want to dress up. You would want to dress to impress. And that is what most people want to do. For kink events, that usually means, it can mean full fetish gear with leather and latex and the stereotypical fantasy stuff that you see in porn, or it could just mean something more like cocktail attire, or people don't generally go in evening wear. I suppose you could if it was a more formal protocol kind of event. But usually people, I mean, they do want to dress up. They want to look good. You want to look your best. You want to wear what makes you feel good about yourself. There are already enough variables that you need to take in and account for when you go to your first kink party, that feeling good and feeling like you are attractive and presenting yourself well doesn't need to be one of those. So even if it's jeans and a t-shirt, as long as it's clean jeans and a clean t-shirt, you're fine. You dress to be comfortable. Just make sure that whatever it is not, like, don't come sloppy. Wear something nice. You want to impress everyone there and hopefully find a play partner. So wear something that will help you do that. Do you need to be nude? No, no, you really don't. It's not necessary. This is not a clothed female nude male party. That is a CFNM. Sometimes you will see acronyms like that that will describe the dress code. This is not one of those parties. We do allow nudity inside only at our parties. Some parties have outdoor areas where you can be nude, but generally speaking, kind of the rule of thumb with most places is that you need to be street legal until you get to the door. And then once you get inside the party, oftentimes you can wear whatever you like, nude or not. Some parties, especially in more public facing venues like a bar or maybe a club, sometimes they will say no pink parts. So what a lot of people will do is something like what I'm wearing now, where you cover the pink parts and then wear your fetish gear over the top of it. Like I said, our parties are generally stay appropriate until you get to the door, and then once inside, as far as clothing goes, pretty much anything will work. Another question that we get off, or another topic of debate, if you will, is pictures. Pictures. So this one is a little bit tricky, and it really varies venue to venue and party to party, even more than most other rules. Most of the time, people participating in kink and BDSM activities want some level of privacy, and they want some level of discretion. So there are a great many parties where pictures of any sort aren't allowed. There are parties where you can't even have your phone out, your phone cannot be seen, you check your phone before you enter, that sort of thing. And that is to protect everyone's privacy. Unfortunately, there are those people who don't like to follow the rules. And I know I personally have been the victim of someone trying to take a picture of me in a compromising situation that I did not consent to. And there is nothing worse than being in the middle of playing and you hear a snap, the sound of a camera snap, and you find someone taking a photo of you when you didn't tell them that was okay. So generally speaking, no photos, but you do have to check with the venue, especially if you start people who are good friends or maybe people who work in the industry. Some of us don't mind having our photos made, or sometimes we're all dressed up in our best fetish gear and we really want to take our photo, or we want someone to take photos with us. So occasionally a venue will offer a designated photo area. Like, it's okay for you to take photos in this space. For Atlanta Dungeon, currently at our parties, we have no photos whatsoever inside the play spaces. But in the lobby area where you check in and first come in the door, if you want to take a picture with your significant other, that is okay. Or if you want a picture of that hot outfit that you wore, also okay. But only in the lobby area, not anywhere there's play equipment. And again, that is to protect everyone else's privacy in the room. Always make sure you ask that, though. I have been to several parties, especially private play parties at somebody's house, where everybody there was friends. Everybody there already knew that everyone else was in the industry and okay with taking pictures. But I was new and didn't know that. And so I was caught a little bit off guard to find that people had been taking pictures. And it was fine. It was a fun party. It wasn't a big deal. But just make sure you find out, because if you're one of those people who really likes and values your discretion, maybe some of those parties that are more industry driven might not be for you. Or you might need to make sure that you tell whoever invited you to that party that you need to not have your photo taken. And usually most people are really good about understanding that and respecting that, but it does come up more often than not, because there's so much debate around to take the picture or to not take the picture. And that's such a personal preference for everyone, whether or not they want their picture taken. But that can really out someone, outing someone. So that's another rule of parties, is kind of what happens at the party stays at the party. You don't generally want to kiss and tell. That's not usually good manners or good etiquette for this sort of thing. So anything that you do at one of the parties is considered to be kept there at the party, which also means not outing the people you're at the party with. So again, when we're talking about everybody's privacy, you don't want to go to work on Monday and say, oh my gosh, guess who I saw? Bobby from accounting was, you don't want to do that. That can really mess up somebody's life. There are people who are in positions either because of their job or their families where it could really be detrimental to them if the wrong people found out they had gone to this kink or BDSM party. So we don't out people. We don't talk about, we don't go off and brag about or gossip about what happens at the party. And that does have to be said, because I mean, we get excited. It's the first time you've ever been, right? And you have, oh my gosh, your mind's been blown. You've seen all these crazy, great things. Of course, it makes sense that you would want to go share that with your friends, but just have a care with how you share the information of the people that you're at the party with, so that you're not outing anyone. Sex. This one comes up a lot also. Do you allow sex at your parties? And the answer for us is no. However, sex is a difficult thing to, it's difficult to define, because what constitutes as sex, again, is somewhat variable. And so when we say sex, what we mean is no genital to genital contact and no mouth to genital contact. That's what we mean at Atlanta dungeon parties when we say no sex. But again, that is going to vary from party to party. Make sure that you read the rules. I have been I have been the one to break the rules on accident, by trying to play with someone over the top of their clothing at a public play party, and I missed the rule that said no overt sexual displays or something like that. I forget the wording. It was a long time ago, but I definitely did get in trouble and was asked to stop. So make sure that, and that's fine. We did, no problem. Just again, our definition of what that sexual contact was did not match that of the venue. So you really do have to just make sure. Generally speaking, if you go to a party, especially if it's at a rented venue or someone's home, you want to be respectful. And that means being respectful of the property, of the other guests, of the host, of the people there taking care of you in a service capacity, whether it's a DM or the person checking you in at the door. Big rule. If it's not yours, don't touch it. It seems pretty straightforward and pretty simple, but it happens all the time, and that includes people. Don't touch other people's toys. Don't touch other people's partners. Just don't touch. If you don't have explicit permission, even for so much as a hug, the best thing to do is ask. Consent is definitely the key issue here, is if you want to touch, you should ask. And a lot of times people are, again, pretty friendly and pretty accepting of sharing their space with you, or even sharing their toys with you, or showing you how a toy works, that sort of thing. But just use some basic courtesy and manners, and make sure that you are asking permission, that you're being polite. Please and thank you manners go a long way. Often when you hear about protocol, some events are protocol events, and most of the time protocol really boils down to good manners. Again, please and thank you will do wonders. And just being nice and polite to the people around you. We do not have a standard protocol procedure at Atlanta Dungeon parties. I know that some people have questions about that. For example, a protocol might be referring to every dominant in the room as sir or ma'am or mistress or whatever their title may be. Me, for example, I don't expect anyone to call me Madam Jess unless they're actively serving me. Or if they belong to me, then absolutely. If you feel so inclined to offer that level of respect, thank you. I appreciate it. Calling me Madam or Madam Jess is just fine. But we don't have a requirement. Like, if we've never met before, you are not required to grovel on your knees and kiss my shoes and call me madam and that sort of thing. That is not a part of what this is. So there are events that do that, but our parties are not that formal. At least not this one anyway. We do hope to do a formal protocol event in the future, at which point there will be a small training class to teach you what protocols are expected of you. But for the January 27th Femdom Brunch, it is very laid back and casual. It's afternoon play. We really just want to get everyone together and have a good time. We want to celebrate the new year, celebrate female supremacy, female domination. So we will be female dom heavy at our party, but that doesn't mean that male doms and male tops are not also welcome. You are more than welcome to come. The only thing that we ask is that everyone be respectful of everyone else. Like I said, it's kind of the golden rule to treat others as you wish to be treated. And no, that does not mean spankings. Just because you want spankings doesn't mean you can go spank someone and get spankings. What will you see? What will you see when you come in? Well, you will probably see people in fetish gear. That's true. You might see people in collars and cuffs and that sort of thing. They're just dressed up. It's just a costume. You might see people nude. If nudity and genitals are offensive to you, this is probably not the best place for you to be. You will not be seeing sex, as we mentioned, because we do not allow sex at the parties. But you might see some scenes. You might see what we refer to as a scene going on in our dungeon play space. And that means you may see people getting spanked. You may see people doing foot worship. You might even see some people doing some rope or using a whip. But you can rest assured that anything that you see is consensual between the people who are doing it. So they have negotiated. We do have what's called DMs, or dungeon monitors, that will be available at the party. So if you have questions, if something doesn't seem quite right to you, you can always go ask. But just remember, don't touch what isn't yours. And that kind of is the same with a scene. Don't interrupt the scene or get into the scene that other people are having when they are actively engaged. That can actually be quite dangerous. So if you see something that you don't feel right about, you can always ask a DM. Chances are, if you see something you don't feel right about, that's just not your kink and not what you're into, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly okay. That's why we have 3 different rooms that you can hang out in. So if you see something you don't like, you can just go to another room where you don't have to watch it. Do I have to participate? This is another question that I think comes up quite a bit. No, not at all. Not at all. You will definitely see people who are socializing and who never play at all. And you absolutely have the opportunity to just socialize with those people, or you are welcome to watch. Many of the people who come out to play at public play parties are often exhibitionists, and so they enjoy having people watch them. So you may turn out to be a voyeur. Maybe that turns out to be your thing, is that you enjoy watching other people play together in front of you. That's perfectly okay. You are not required to play. You are not required to participate in any way. We hope you will. We hope that you'll feel comfortable enough that you decide to play, or maybe come back and play next time. But it's not required, and you are not expected to. So we just want to make sure everyone knows that, kind of alleviate some fears. It seems, like I said, people tend to be pretty nervous about their first event, and just because, again, they don't know what to expect. And I think that in general, the Atlanta dungeon events tend to be, I mean, they're fairly tame in terms of play. We don't have a lot of edge play. And really, edge play doesn't fit our rules or the venue at this time anyway. So you're not going to see anything too terribly crazy. I say that, but I'm jaded. I've been around a long time. So it has to be pretty out there for me to think it's crazy. What should you bring with you? So a question that comes up sometimes, again, is what can you bring with you to the party? Or what should you bring with you? And the answer is yourself, of course. Your outfit, whatever it is making you feel like you look good. If you're going to play, you are welcome to bring a toy bag. We do have limited space for storing toy bags. Same thing with coats. It is pretty cold out right now. I don't know how cold it will be by January 27th, but right now it's pretty cold. So we do have a coat rack and a coat check, but it's pretty limited and not as well monitored as I wish it could be at this time. Make sure when you come in, you are bringing your ID. We do need a valid ID that will be checked at the door. And your ticket. You should have purchased a ticket in advance if you are coming to brunch. If you're coming to the play party only and not the brunch, there will be some tickets available on site that you can purchase. Just make sure that you have your identification and make sure that you come prepared to sign a waiver for your participation. And that waiver does include the dungeon rules that we've been talking about. Smoking. Okay, so some people do still smoke, more people vape. Can you smoke or vape at the party? Well, at our party, yes, you can, but you do need to go outside and away from the doors. I know that some venues do not allow smoking of any sort, and we only do so outside. If you take away one thing from this video today, I hope that it is that every party's rules are different and your safest, best option is to research the party ahead of time and make sure that you understand the rules and are prepared for what you're about to walk into as much as you can be. The next biggest takeaway I hope that you have today, if you are new, I hope that this video has helped answer some of your questions about what to expect so that you come, so that you show up. We do hope to see you at some of our events sometime. Our next big event that we've been talking about today is our Femdom Brunch that is held at Metropolitan Studio. Brunch will begin at noon, and after brunch is complete, around 2 o'clock or so, we will be transitioning the dining space into one of our play dungeons. So around 2:15, 2:30, we should be about ready to start the play-only portion of our day. You are welcome. If you cannot make it to brunch, if you weren't one of those lucky people who snagged a ticket, you are welcome to show up around 2 or 2:30 and come play with us. We have lots and lots of play space. We have a lot of play equipment that we'll have set up. We are providing cleaning supplies and that sort of thing on site for everyone. So just come join us, Metropolitan Studios, January 27th. We'd love to see you. If you have any questions, you are always welcome to reach out. You can find me on FetLife and online at MyMadamJess on all my social media. It's really been great talking to you guys today. First ever podcast vlog, whatever you want to call it. We finally got it in the books. Here it is. And I'm excited to bring you guys some more soon. Take care.